We can get into talking about these four cases, man. These four fascinating cases, which have to do with snitching, ratting, and informing. And we talked about this in a previous episode, which I realize is one of our most downloaded and most streamed episode. And before we get into these four cases, which we're going to talk about T.I., Lil C's, Jimmy Henchman, and Tim Allen. But before we get into it, why do you think that episode was so popular?
You know what? I have no idea because we talk about a lot of interesting things. But like I say, I think people think we got in the cut. You know, somebody's about to get outed, so they listening. You know, they might think we got something up, setting something up. You know what I mean? When really we just,
Now we're talking about already cases that have occurred among some of your favorite people. So we'll start off with this T.I. one. This T.I. one is a little unusual because he got arrested on a federal gun case. Mm-hmm. But then he testified in a state case in Cincinnati, Ohio, which had to do with the death of his very, very close friend from the sandbox.
Yeah, Fallant.
Fallant Johnson. So I don't know if the two cases are related, but the fact of the matter is he did testify in that murder trial of the guy Hosea Thomas. Mm-hmm. Did you get a chance to listen or read any of the transcripts of T.I. testifying?
I did.
Okay.
I listened to about 30 minutes of it, and he talked about a lot of things. He said a lot of things. He said, when they start shooting, when they left the club, how the incident happened at the club with the fight with Fallant. He said a lot of things, Alex, but I listened to it real good, and he never gave no details, though, about the shooter. He never said a what color car. He never said a black guy, white guy, Chinese guy. He never gave up no intricate details. You know what I mean? He did say what happened in the events of things of how his best friend got killed, but he didn't tell on nobody in that situation. And some people would be like, oh, he got on the stand. He said that, they were at the nightclub. That's telling. I mean, you know what I mean? He didn't give up no intricate details about the shooters. You know what I mean? So that one right there is a little tough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he just timelined it out without giving any details. You're right. There was no car description. There was no shooter description. So where do we put him at then?
Well, that's the thing about it. That's where I have problems at. Not with the Fallant case, even though that's the case that he got on trial, testified in, said a whole lot of things, but didn't give one testimony about the shooter, basically. No identification, nothing like that. So it was no snitching right there, I can't call him a snitch, but I still wonder how he got caught with machine guns, silencers. They went to his house. Between the house and the car, they found 8 guns, and you're an ex-felon. You got a year in jail, a year's home confinement, $100,000 fine. I don't see nowhere in no testimony where he got a 5K1, where he got a downward departure, where he did a proffer. I don't see none of that in that case. All I'm doing is saying, how did you get it? How did you get that deal? So I won't sit there and point and say you told on somebody because I don't have no physical evidence to state that. Me, I'm heavy on. I'm not gonna call a man a rat unless I got some evidence. But I just was wondering how he got that much love, being that it was a federal. The guns were federal.
All right, so you're right. He was sentenced to 1 year and a day for possessing multiple machine guns, silencers also, and how is that possible?
I have no idea. That's why I'm
because we talked about the sentencing guidelines. According to what you said before, there's at least a 5-year minimum.
No doubt. And then you have multiple ones with silencers. It's just like I say, I can't call him a rat because I don't have anything that states that, but I just don't know how he got that much love. They must have really liked that guy or something.
Well, people who do call him a rat are basing it on him testifying.
Exactly. I do get
case.
that. No, I get that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I listened to that case good. But you're going to have people that say that anybody got on the witness stand, all he told. But if you go listen to what he said, he didn't tell anything. You know what I mean? He told that they were there. They got shot at. His friend died. We went to the hospital in a white van and got out the black van. He said all that. But he didn't tell no details on the shooters. So I can't call him a rat on that one. Because I understand the witness stand. I understand the court law. I understand what they try to do is, what they want to do is when they get you up on that stand, they're going to ask you a bunch of questions and see if you answer other questions correctly. So when you get to the meat of the case, you're credible, in that situation. I've only been on the stand for myself, and some of the questions that I had to answer about myself before we even got to the case. Are you a gang member? Have you ever been in a gang? And, you have to answer these questions first. You know what I mean? And like I say, on these cases, I didn't have a co-defendant. It's just me. But if I lie and say I was never a gang member, when you pulled me over, I wasn't in a green truck, or if I lie about this stuff, my credibility don't mean shit when I get to the actual part of the case.
Yeah.
So some people don't get that part. And, like I said, I listened to him, and it still may be people I'm sure call him a rat on that case, but I listened to him good, and he never gave up nothing.
Yeah, I agree that testifying and informing are two different things. And then here's another thing that we didn't mention is that his family, the family of Thornton, of course, wanted justice for
no doubt
for their family member, and he is close to that family. So how does it look if he says, "Man, I ain't testifying in that case," to the family of Thornton, because they're gonna think T.I.'s got something to hide,
Well, true, and don't get me wrong, I still may have handled the situation differently. You know what I mean? Like I say, I'm stern about getting up on that stand in any situation unless it's me for myself. But you absolutely right. But it's still a lot of people that just wouldn't have did it no matter what. When we out in them streets, we out doing this. This is how the street life go. This how this shit goes. You know what I mean? So. I basically, wouldn't have did it personally. My best friend would have got killed just based on, man, this is really what happened out here. If you know this was my best friend and you really believe in your heart that I'm telling the truth, then you should know that I'm not finna go. Now, sometimes when you get subpoena, you gotta go. There's no question about it. You hit that subpoena, hit your way, you gotta go. But it still depends on what you say. You know what I mean? And they can't make you talk, and they can't make you force you to say things. He chose to speak on his own. But all I'm saying was, I know a lot of people that wouldn't have went and got on that stand, but for me listening to everything he said, man, he didn't snitch on nobody.
Yeah, and there's mixed feelings on T.I. regarding this specific case where he testified. But let me read a couple comments because I think some of the people got it completely correct. This one guy named Cherokee Bowles said, "For those thinking he snitched, he got subpoenaed and gave a vague explanation. Nowhere did T.I. say any names, point any fingers, not even a security guard snitched. The only reason the shooter got locked up was because his own brother, who was the driver of that car, snitched him out to get a lesser sentence." So wow. I think that's a guy that he kind of gets it. He's kind of saying what we're saying.
Yeah, he does. Like I said, still people that's gonna say different, but that's where I stand on it.
Okay, so back to his gun case.
Yeah, back to that.
First question is, and I've seen this sentence before. Little Kim, we'll talk about Little Kim in a minute. She got sentenced to a year and a day, and so did Martha Stewart get sentenced to a year and a day. It says here T.I. got sentenced to a year and a day. What's up with this weird Fed sentence to a year and a day?
Well, you know what? I was confused at first too. I was, man, why they get the day? Why they get the day? But actually, what the day does, if they sentence you to 12 months, you're not eligible for no good time or anything like that. You're not eligible for your 85% or no kind of good time. If they give you that day, that extra day past a year, it qualifies you for any good time. So if you got 12 months, you can just do 9 or 10 and come home. You know what I mean? That's what the day does.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So T.I.'s max sentence for this gun case was actually 20 years. I guess they racked up for all the guns, for all the ammunition, for all the silencers, and
not to mention he was a felon.
And he was already a convicted felon. Do you think that agreeing during your plea agreement, agreeing to do community service, agreeing to do, stop the violence videos, agreeing to doing 1,000 years of other anti-drug messages, agreeing to all this stuff, can get a sentence reduced down to a year and a day?
Obviously it did, but at the same time, I'm gonna tell you where else he messed up with this one. He messed up by doing the weed tips commercial.
Oh yeah.
When he got to encouraging people to call in and report crimes. Now I know in his mind he's saying real gangsters ain't gonna do that anyway. But at the same time, man, that's why he lost me at right there.
I forgot about the weed tips.
Yeah, he did the weed tips, man, and that's where more people was mad at than any other thing on this case, because you basically saying, man, make sure you tell, you know what I mean? So that rubbed everybody the wrong way, especially the dudes in the streets, maybe not regular civilians, but the people out in the streets, the gangsters out in the streets, like, dudes, you promoting ratting, and but I don't know, man, I just don't know nobody in the history of history that we knew in the streets that got caught with any amount of ammunition like he had, guns and machine gun silencers, and get that kind of time. To me, it's suspect.
Now, when you only get the year and a day, is it possible that he went to a low? Do you know anything about where he went?
Yeah, he was in where was he at? Texarkana or Fort Worth. I believe he was in Fort Worth. And if I'm not mistaken, I know a few guys I ran into was with him. I just forgot where they say they were, and but he was on the yard. He walked the yard like he said he did. He wasn't. But yeah, they was at Lowe's.
And I'm assuming that some of the people there may have felt a certain kind of way that you only got a year.
Well, yeah, no doubt, but a lot of, like he said, though, he showed his paperwork. T.I. say, look, I brought my paperwork to the homies. He said the Georgia car, pushed up on him, basically, like, listen, man, we got your back, but you got to be right. He gave them their paperwork. They reviewed his paperwork. Wasn't nothing in his paperwork, no downward departures or no extra, like I say, 5K1s or Rule 35Bs, was in his paperwork. They read his plea agreement, looked at his court docket and all that, and they said that he was straight. So if none of this stuff was in your paperwork, then technically you can't say that I did something faulty. I'm just saying, me personally, I mean, just to be honest with me personally, it could be nothing in his paperwork, and I'll still be like, I ain't messing with him.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's just because it's unanswered, right?
It's unanswered, man, and now we don't know nobody who's done it, and everybody else gonna get busted upside their head. And we know you got money. We know you probably had high-powered lawyers. We know you posted a $3 million bill that the rest of us couldn't have done. You know what I mean? And was able to fight your case with the best lawyers. It's just, all I'm saying is a suspect. But if it's not in his paperwork, I can't call him a rat.
Let me see if I could play this little T.I. video. The name of this video is called T.I. Snitching on Crime Stoppers.
Oh yeah.
I might not be able to get this play. Let's see here. Here we go. Listen to this.
Hey, what's happening, y'all? Some people call me Tip, but this is about another kind of tip that can help our mothers, our sisters, our brothers, and our fathers help get the perpetrators who commit crimes against them off the streets. All you got to do is call Crime Stoppers Atlanta. Tips can be anonymous, and there's even a reward. The number to Crime Stoppers Atlanta is 404-577-8477. That's 404-577-TIPS. Channel 2, community coverage you can count.
What you think about that, man?
Oh, man, he let us all down with that one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, he let us all down with that one.
Yeah, I don't know if
And I do get it probably from his perspective. Like, I ain't told on nobody, but this finna help me get this year and this day. I don't believe in crime. He could not. I don't think he the type of guy that's gonna call Crime Stoppers his damn self. I'm just saying, you made the video, man. Some of these things are a violation in the streets.
I guess he just did not want to sit down for 5-6 years, huh? That's what it boiled down to.
It boiled down to that, but like I say, it just, I mean, I can't speak on it, man. It just, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to stamp him a snitch based on what he testified in at the Cincinnati, Ohio trial. I listened to that and I read the transcript at least 2 or 3 times. And he just gave a timeline. He just answered basic questions, didn't ID anyone, didn't ID a car, and I don't think he informed on anybody.
Yeah, you know, I agree with you on that one. You know, you still gonna have people that have their own opinions, but like I say, for me, no paperwork showed in the gun cases that he had. And like I say, he was a rat, but the Crime Stopper video in itself, you know, I'm not going to stamp him nothing. I'm just going to, you know, like I say, stay away from him.
Yeah, I could understand that. And, you know, my boy Spider Loke from East Coast is always going in on T.I. He says he's a cold snitch based on the Ohio case, based on the Cincinnati, Ohio case. But if you got some information other than what we have here available to us, let me know, because as I see it, I'm not going to stamp him that at this point.
No doubt.
What about you? Give him a medium stamp?
You know what? On the Crime Stopper thing, and you know, like I say, them guns is questionable.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a half stamp him. You know,
he gets a half stamp.
He gonna get a half stamp for that one.
I'm gonna give the brother a pass on that one, because the dude that went to prison for killing his boy I don't believe his testimony, you know, added to any of that, and he didn't ID anyone.
Thanks for watching this video clip of Streets and Scholars podcast with Alex, Alonso, and FG. If you want to listen to the entire episode, go to your favorite podcast platform and type in Streets and Scholars. But we're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. And thanks for listening to another episode of Streets and Scholars.